Have you ever had anyone ask, how's your spine? Probably not. Most times people are asked, how are you? And the person most likely answers with a description of their mood, a headache, their heart, or shortness of breath. The paradox of it all is that these and other similar ailments are associated with scoliosis. Scoliosis is not as simple as a curved spine. This condition can impair the body's hormonal, neurological, and nutritional systems as well. You may ask, what exactly is scoliosis? Scoliosis is a lateral curvature in a normally straight line of the spine, which has the potential to cause health issues ranging from fatigue and heart problems to headaches and muscular paralysis. Can you imagine your spine curving abnormally to the side and twisting? According to the American Chiropractic Association, scoliosis affects 5 to 7 million people here in the United States. More than 500,000 visits are made to the doctor's offices each year for evaluation and treatment of the condition. The condition usually develops during the time of adolescence when the growth spurt hits. Girls and boys are equally affected by the idiopathic scoliosis, but scoliosis affects girls with the condition are more likely to develop curves that get big enough to require treatment. Idiopathic scoliosis means that the causes are unknown, which occurs about 8% of the time. Aside from the unknown, there are 3 known causes: congenital, neuromuscular, and osteoporosis with fractures. Congenital happens when the spine fails to form completely. Neuromuscular occurs when the spine's disc and bones break or deteriorate in adulthood. Osteoporosis with fractures only occurs when those with the disease osteoporosis has fractures in the spine. Now knowing what scoliosis truly is, let's discuss its long-term effects. Scoliosis is a continuous disease that lasts your entire life, but usually doesn't worsen once bone growth ends after puberty. In some cases, in adulthood, the spine may weaken and curvatures and symptoms may worsen gradually. For some, though, the condition doesn't bother them and they do not seek treatment. By doing this, it could cause long-term problems such as back pain, tingling or numbness in the legs, fatigue, breathing problems, permanent deformities, and the possibility of heart problems. Next, I will discuss the symptoms of the condition and the proper diagnosis. Being familiar with the symptoms and getting a proper diagnosis is very important. Normally, when looking at someone's spine, it appears to be straight rather from the front or the back. But for a person with scoliosis, it curves to one side and forms an S shape. Some symptoms include a sunken or asymmetrical chest shape, a pelvis that thrusts forward on one side, a rounded shoulder, and one shoulder that appears to be lower than the other. Most times, scoliosis curves are detected during routine school screening examinations. Many states require public schools to screen students, usually in the 5th or 6th grade. During the examination, the child is asked by the examiner to stand up straight, then bend over to touch his or her toes. This position allows the physician to check any curvatures and abnormal body tilt or for one shoulder blade is raised higher than the other. If scoliosis is suspected, the examiner will refer you to the spine specialist or tell you to go to your family doctor for further examination. We are now aware of the symptoms and diagnosis process. We can now go to discuss the treatments to correct it. After visiting your doctor and learning the severity, there are treatments to correct the condition. Bracing is the usual treatment choice for adolescents who have a spinal curve between 25 to 40 degrees, especially if their bones are still maturing. This method is used to halt the progression of the curve and can result in the spine assuming its initial magnitude when the brace is removed. Surgery is needed when the curve has reached 40 to 50 degrees. The main purpose of this treatment is so the curve doesn't worsen. Although surgery doesn't fully straighten the spine, during the procedure, metallic rods and screws are utilized to correct and hold the spine in the correct position. This results in the joining of the vertebrae together permanently, and the brace is to be worn afterwards. An alternate treatment is participating in scoliosis treatment recovery system, or electrostimulation, by which many have achieved outstanding results. This system includes muscle stimulation, ocular and vascular therapy, nutritional therapy, dynamic bracing, spinal adjustment, exercise, and hydrotherapy. Now that I have discussed the background and details of the disease, I will now discuss how it has affected my life. According to WebMD.com, approximately 2 to 3% of the Americans at age of 16 have scoliosis. Less than 0.1% have spinal curves measuring greater than 40 degrees, which is the point at which surgery becomes a consideration. Unfortunately, I fell in between the 0.1 percentage. At the tender age of 12, a curve was detected in my spine at our school screening. Can you imagine having to be evaluated twice to be sure something was abnormal? That was the scariest day of my life. I was immediately evaluated by my family physician, and from there was referred to the nearby orthopedic hospital. I met my doctor and was told he would keep a watch on my condition for a couple weeks. Nothing improved, and my spine's curve had now reached 60 degrees, and I was given the painstaking news that I would need to have correctional surgery. My surgery was scheduled for August 29, 2007, on my mom's birthday. After my surgery was complete, I was constrained to a back brace that I was required to wear for the majority of the day for almost 5 months. I couldn't attend school for 2 months and was pretty much restricted from doing anything at all that included physical contact, lifting, and restraining. In conclusion, my purpose of the speech was to inform you all about the condition scoliosis. You have now learned what it actually is, what treatments are out there, and what an impact it has on the everyday lives of people. According to the National Scoliosis Foundation, scoliosis affects 2 to 3% of the population in the U.S., and there is no known cure. Being that so many people across the world are suffering from this condition, I'm proud to say mine was diagnosed and corrected at the time and manner that it was. I was lucky to have fallen into the hands of well-trained doctors that cared enough to be sure I would have a safe future. My spine is now in line and I am no longer in pain. Thanks for listening.